Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. My name is Evan, and this show is brought to you by Faceless Labs, the startup on a mission to lead the financial revolution and empower the faceless many, the everyday people like you, like me, who will learn to leverage future technology to, we say, rise up and write a better story. We're here to bring you helpful news, commentary, and answers to all your myriad questions about crypto. I know you keep hearing about cryptocurrency, and it seems like the more you hear, the less you understand. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can seem to explain exactly what it is to you. It has something to do with money, but you're not entirely sure why it matters, how it's different, how to start using it, if it's even safe or for you. That's what this show is for. That's why we're here. So, come on in. The water's fine. We're here Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We've got a free YouTube channel. We've got a free newsletter. We've got a free Discord community. Lots of different kinds of resources that you can use to get abreast of this new movement that we call Web3. Because newsflash, the internet, it's the same old internet, but now with that new ownership taste. For the folks who like to have rights, privileges, freedoms, all that good stuff, whatever side of the aisle you're on, however old you are, whatever color you are, whatever language you speak, que pasa? It's the internet, but now you can own it. So, welcome, my friends. Bitcoin, almost 55. It's over. Oh, shoot. Well, news to me. I guess we got a short show today then, huh? That's right. Bitcoin, Solana, and Ether are down. And people are wondering, why, what's going on? The speculation that I've seen is that we have had some high wage numbers. And so we've got the word is hawkish Fed, looking to do what they can to sort of curtail inflation. And this kind of a setup is traditionally bad for risk assets like crypto, meaning volatile, fringe assets. Things that people see that way. It's all a social construction, you know. There's a number of great articles about this online. And, you know, it's not unprecedented for halving times also to be a little bit down after the halving immediately. I wouldn't just, you know, this is maybe not the time to either sell all your Bitcoin or mortgage your house and get more. The important thing is to develop conviction. If you're over leveraged, if you're starting to feel worried, that could be signs that you need to do a bit of a gut check for sure. So let us know. Let us know how you're doing. And if you need help with the gut check, we can definitely walk you through it. Everybody should have that as part of their toolkit. Good morning, Angel. It's going to drop, but the bounce, in my opinion, would be tremendous. Kai Torres, well, I can't say I disagree. Is it dropping to 52K? I don't know. If you find out, please tell me. Maybe he knows. Let's find out. Bom dia, good morning. Hello, Alex. How are you?
So good.
Robbie says, yo, bro, what's the story? We were just talking about the dip, and I hadn't previewed it yet, but the other big story is that CZ is going to prison for 4 months after a plea deal in what is an interesting turn of events. I think if you just, you know, want to look at what happened, it's probably a pretty good outcome for him. But it's one of the heavier sentences in terms of all the fines and fees and stuff that Binance has had to face that a founder in the finance or casino space has been hit with. And I'm curious to know what you think about it.
I mean, at this point, it's probably a badge of honor for him. The fines that Binance had to pay were insanely steep. And the fact that they paid them and nothing happened is pretty impressive because it was $4 billion. Yeah.
They were recommending 36 months. He got 4. That's pretty funny. Scott says in the comments, he's telling on people only 4 months. And Robbie says, hey, he told the Yanks he'd dip Bitcoin 1,000 for every month inside. So this dip is just CZ's retribution. The founder of Binance did appear pretty somber in court. I saw some photos. I did not see any video clips, but we do have a quote from him. It seems like, you know, he was very I think he's trying to tell a better story. I'm sorry is the first thing he says. I believe the first step of taking responsibility is to fully recognize the mistakes. I failed to implement adequate anti-money laundering. I realize now the seriousness of that mistake. I mean, sincere or not, it's well done, and it appears sincere.
He pled guilty.
So. Yeah, and he continues to uphold and support the people at the exchange, which is good. Leader goes down with the ship, lets the other people stay on to do the good work, lives to fight another day, kind of thing. Don't quote me on this. I was looking at it yesterday. Unchained has a great article on this online, just kind of investigating the "Do you think this is fair?" question, and I'm pretty sure this is the second highest fines, fees, and whatever that someone in our industry has faced, even ahead of folks like Chase Bank when they had to pay that big fine after you remember when they created all those fake accounts for 14 million people? This is a couple years ago. And the CEO was like, yeah, we did that. It was pretty messed up. And their sentence was lighter than that. And they broke a number of other laws too. So I think they're probably to some extent trying to send a message to people who are building in crypto, but and if it can happen to Binance, it can happen to you. So don't be breaking the law. Don't be breaking the law, Robbie. Watching you, man.
They're all out here doing it anyway.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that happening lately, doesn't there? We don't have to talk about it, but but it's happening. Alex and I were talking yesterday about who could we get on the show to give some perspective and help us tell a better story about that kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe we should just invite Hester or somebody else with the power to regulate, and we can just tell them what's going on TikTok.
With the influencer stuff specifically, it's CFTC guidelines that are being consistently broken.
Yeah, good point. The CFTC has set a lot more precedent and been more clear about it, certainly. 4 months, 2 for good behavior, out for part 2 bull run. Honestly, the day CZ gets released from prison, I fully expect to see some green candles. I wonder if he's got his phone inside. I wonder if he's buying the dip.
I'm sure that
I think he's got that BCA set up.
Someone capable of making a purchase on his behalf while he's confined.
Yeah. And I think Angel's got a really good point. I think going to jail might be the best thing that could happen for CZ's reputation. Pleading guilty like this, giving these kind of somber "I will help" is not only going to endear him to the crypto community, who will see him as villainized by the state. I think it's also going to endear him to the traditional finance community, and is possibly another masterstroke in a genius plan. Alex, you talk about how you imagine that when CZ was watching FTX move about the world, that he was sitting back in his chair smoking his cigar, waiting for the right moment to call their bluff and bring them down. If so, this would be another brilliant move by such a master player. He's obviously not stupid. Who knows if it's calculated like that, but do you agree? I think when he comes out, he'll absolutely be a guy that people are, hey CZ, hey CZ, hey CZ on both sides.
Yeah, I honestly wonder too, because he started, Giggle Academy, his educational gamified company.
Mm-hmm.
This is all now just a tremendous learning experience, which will endear him to those that he hopes to educate on the whatever. It's just I don't know. Obviously, it sucks,
And make no bones about it, though. If CZ was like, Evan, I would like to mentor you, I would be like, okay.
Yep.
100% I would take that phone call. 100%. I'm not saying I would take his moral advice, but I absolutely would want to know what he knows and who he knows. I would want access to that capital, the social capital, the financial capital. Maybe we could tell a better story. I don't know. Um,
So
you
I've
asked about, I saw someone asked about the dip. Do you want to talk about it at all in terms of, before you got on, I was suggesting it might be a good time for a gut check.
yeah. Yeah, I was actually going to say that Josh posted a pretty good video, I thought, like kind of summing it up. I don't know if it's his most recent, but it's like in his most recent two or three probably. I don't know what the title of it is, but it I thought did a pretty good job. And one very interesting metric that he pointed out, which we've seen be met with a squeeze in the past, is that if we went back to 71, I think it was, which is not setting a new all-time high. We've already been to 71. But if Bitcoin was to go back to 71, that it would liquidate something like just north of $10 billion worth of shorts. And whenever we see like one direction, this is as close as I'm ever going to get to like trying to analyze a market. Whenever historically we've seen Bitcoin specifically get, either overbought or oversold with too many shorts or too many longs in one direction or another taken out, taken, bought, purchased. Typically, then the people who have the power to move that sort of stuff will like do something to squeeze them out because they
Yeah,
don't
sure.
want all that open interest sitting there. And I mean, we've seen the short squeeze type of thing happen before for a lot less than this. So that's what I'm curious about now. Who knows how low it's going to go in the meantime before that happens. But I don't know, this kind of stuff happens all the time. It's funny. I'm at this point now where everyone's like, "Oh, the dip," and I'm like, "Oh, geez, I haven't even looked at the price in 2 or 3 days. I have no idea what it's doing."
Um, Honestly, me too. I didn't know until yesterday. My dad texted me. Then he called me. he said, "Hey, real quick, what's causing this decline in prices in the crypto market?" I said, "I have no idea." And what I told him yesterday, I said, uh, at that time I wasn't as plugged in with the news. I did a little reading to come in today. I said, the first thing I can think of is that last week inflows into the ETFs, they went a little negative. The Hong Kong ETF was kind of disappointing in its debut, only brought in 12 million, somebody was telling us yesterday. And it was the first day in a couple of days last week that there weren't big time buys from institutional holders. But I also learned, so the Fed's monetary policy decision press conference, that's today. It's happening today. And they think that because inflation has been so persistent, the Fed is going to take some actions that'll kind of curtail the enthusiasm around risk assets. They've got hot wage data. And the other thing, you talk about liquidations, in the last like 48 hours, almost at least 400 million, probably more, crypto positions were liquidated. And I've got to imagine too, I don't have data on this, but I've got to imagine also that the people like my dad, and even more like old school, are buying, who bought ETFs, are like watching this, like calling their financial advisor, like, "What happened? You told me." You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious to see what portion of those folks, move some money off to. And I personally wouldn't be surprised if there's a little more, reaction to all the different kinds of news that's going to happen. Because if there's one thing for sure, the market's going to market,
Yeah, no, it's.
But
Zaz, do you think Beam could flip Immutable X? I think that
I don't know enough about the ecosystem. Do you?
I
Because
would say
you're involved in Beam.
100% it's possible. Anything is possible. But how likely it is, I'm not sure. I think that probably depends on the. I mean, Beam has a lot of big backers. They have a lot of investors. I think that I definitely wouldn't make like a prediction that it's going to happen at this time or that time. But I think that if I woke up and heard the news that Beam flipped IMX, I would not even be remotely surprised. And
Yeah, and
I
I
think
think
it's
if you're
really
somebody who
gonna.
wants to invest in gaming, why wouldn't you hedge your bets on both?
No, it's really gonna come down to I think what the next probably 6 months to a year in terms of like game releases brings, because it's not just going to be about who can. The golden metric, the golden goose of gaming is not that you make a game that launches well; it's that you make a game that retains its players for that year. If you look at, I'm trying to think of a couple of relevant recent examples. Diablo 4 and Starfield are probably the biggest that I can remember. Had a game like that been about to launch with a Web3 protocol, it would have been hyped to the moon and back again. But if it performed that way, it would have been hyper bearish for that ecosystem. So I think that's really what I'm watching, is like pay attention to the games that are coming out, and then just try to track like player engagement over time from those games, because the persistence of a game to do well is going to be the make or break for the ecosystem, regardless of whether or not that means the ecosystem is good or bad. I think it means that, the ecosystem will respond accordingly, because it does not take much for a game to lose standing. Like, look, for example, Diablo 4 was widely regarded as awesome. I know a ton of people who were, headfirst into that game. They were playing it so much, and then like 2 or 3 things back to back just sort of happened that pretty much killed it. The 2 lead game devs decided to stream themselves playing it, and turned out that they sucked at it and didn't really know how it worked, and that was pretty bad. And then they just started releasing these like super expensive DLCs and like asset packs. It was like, buy a mount for 70 to buy a single mount for the price of the entire game. And it just, and now everyone that I know that was playing Diablo 4 is no longer playing Diablo 4. And then Starfield just flopped right out of the gate.
Wow.
So watch that. That's a long-winded way of saying pay attention to that. That's what I would be watching. Watch the games that launch, and then watch how they launch, good or bad, and then how they respond to the good or bad launch, and whether or not they can keep and retain any players. That's what I'm waiting for more than anything. I'm waiting to watch and see if Shrapnel captures any of the Tarkov community. I don't know if anything is going to capture Tarkov, because nothing is like Tarkov, but the other like less intense extractions.
So I'm trying to do some research on my computer to get like a better macro picture. I'm trying to see top Immutable X games versus top Beam games upcoming. I'm looking at the chart, and I'm also trying to pull up Avalanche, because that in my mind is the other big like ecosystem competitor. Unexpectedly, I don't know how or why, my computer's a little slow. So
No way.
This is what I've got so far, and maybe you can supplement me on this. Because you also are spending more time and knowledge here. I have some of the on-chain metrics. To flip Immutable X, it would honestly not take that much. The market cap is about half. Like, Beam may be, based on what I'm seeing about their juice to squeeze, a little bit overpriced. But you know how momentum loves to kind of stack on itself here. It could very well be that if they come out with a few banger games, this could do, a 2 or a 3. But 1.3 bill, like you got to do something big to go to, an Immutable X level. Immutable X is at 3 billion. Of course, there's room to grow there. That's a small asset when you look at the global stage. But in crypto, there's there's not a ton of room to go up from there, unless you're you trying to be Chainlink, bro, kind of thing. And a gaming ecosystem, could it do it? Absolutely, it could do it. It looks like Immutable X just has a lot more stuff to do, and people have been building there for a minute.
Yeah.
So do you have a state of the gaming network in terms of what actually is happening in each? Because I'm trying to pull that up too.
Not so much. I know that I've talked to a couple people, Mark and one other person. Mac and I had kind of talked to them every now and then back when we were first starting with the Shades of Sin stuff, the Beam Merit Circle guys. Because the Merit Circle guys are pretty tapped into what's it called? They have a lot of Neo Tokyo support, which is a huge ecosystem. There's a lot of money in there.
Rich community. Yeah.
And I know that they may not have had the most diverse like palette of offerings, but I think the things that they did have were basically all you needed, right? Like was it Sphere was their marketplace, and then obviously the gaming ecosystem. There's funding and grant opportunities for games developing. They were doing a lot of stuff. The token's been crushing it, which also helps. And I think and IMX has a little bit of that, dinosaur legacy to fight as well.
Yeah.
They have their previous shoes fill. I don't know what IMX's all time high was last time. That would be interesting to see.
Oh, hang on, I can tell you. I've got it on chain here. CoinGecko. Um, oh, wow. It looks
Oh
like
yeah,
their all-time high was about $7, but let me see what their all-time high market cap was because I don't know if there have been any significant changes to supply. Yeah, their all-time high market cap was actually just recently, um, 5 billion on March 11th. So they actually have had a pretty significant year in
but
terms of up and down.
look
I
at
was not paying attention to that.
look at last bull run though from November of 21.
Oh, uh,
All time high was
November of
almost
21, I
$10.
have a market cap of 0 to a market cap of 1.5. The price
Yeah.
was higher, but the market cap was lower. So,
Yep.
so this is a good moment to pause for people who are not with us there. I always want you to know that the sometimes most confusing metric for a new person to grasp with stocks and crypto is like, how do they determine the price? Market cap times circulating, or excuse me, divided by circulating supply is the price. How many
Yep.
tokens are there in circulation? What are they each worth? Do the multiplication, and now you've got the market cap. So it works both ways. If the circulating supply increases or decreases, that affects the price of the token without changing at all the market cap. So now there are more tokens in existence than before. While the market cap is bigger, the price per token is lower. I don't know how they release their tokens, but I see that of a total supply of 2 billion, 1.4 billion is circulating. So they've got some kind of release mechanism that's coming out. I mean, I would say at this point it's priced in, maybe overpriced, but
Hard to say.
hard to know. Did you say
Look
we'll
at,
see?
I said hard. Yeah, I said hard to say.
Yeah, hard to say. Hey, do you know about this? I'm looking this up for Robbie. Um, I've heard this is true that Xbox, the PlayStation, some of the others are
Hmm.
discontinuing support for backwards capability, or like, going forward, a lot of consoles are doing that. I know that PlayStation did it, a couple generations ago. Do you have any word on that? Are you an Xbox gamer?
I play Xbox, but I'm not prolific enough to have really any games that I am worried about. So I'm not sure. I do now that you say that, I'm going to look because I do remember hearing something about that and thinking I wanted to look it up. Um,
Beam have a big treasury too. Like, what the heck? This team is definitely cooking Cookie Muncher. You're not wrong about it, but am I seeing correctly that they don't have? Oh, they have alpha, playable, and beta games partnered with, looks like, at least in this instance, games.gg. Does Arcade, Alex, support games on multiple blockchains?
right now they are all Avalanche. Um,
All Avalanche. Okay.
however, the market tradable token is on Ethereum. So in order to like use the platform itself is built on Avalanche, but I know that they are planning on scaling out to include other chains starting with ETH, and I don't know where they
Got
would
it.
go from there. But I think most of the relevant stuff is all EVM compatible anyway.
Quick visual aid then I'm going to give everybody while you're looking at Xbox stuff if I can get my screen back. I'm on Games GG, which is come on screen. Come on little screen. I just want to show them. Okay. I'm on Games GG, which if you don't know is spelled like this. It's a lot like arcade. It's kind of a, aggregator. Or it's an arcade. It's a marketplace where you can go check out different games, see player ratings for those games, see whether they're playable, are they in an alpha stage, a beta stage, etc. But this is what I want to check your attention with. They sort games by network, and look at who's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Immutable X is number 3, and looks like Beam doesn't even hit the list. Although there are, several games that are these are the Beam games, 4, 8, 10. That's 10 games that are playable or in development. You can see the stats sorted by whether they are in fact playable, in development, beta, etc. What kind of game they are, and also the platform, which I think is really cool. I had seen games.gg, but I had not seen this little widget here, and that's kind of cool. I'm into that. So like I selected what platform is it on, Mac OS, what chain, Beam, nothing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what kind of Polygon games they have, because I don't think of Polygon when I think of blockchain gaming.
No, well, and you got to remember too, a lot of the games that are out now that are playable are old and they're pretty bad. Like, so Gala has 13. All of those are about the caliber of like your average mediocre mobile game. There's nothing noteworthy there. Nothing, in my opinion, nothing in the Gala ecosystem is like really worth anyone's time.
So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see user rating. I want to see any games rated 10. No. Okay, let's try 9. I'm going to see across ecosystems. I wonder who's got the highest rated games. Forgotten Runeverse. Interesting. Why is it? Huh. Big Time. Not surprising. I wonder if I can. This is a lot of metrics. Shrapnel, not surprising.
So Illuvium, Shrapnel, Big Time, Gods Unchained. Those are the ones that are like, genuinely enjoyable sans Web3 component that I hear talked about a lot. And Heroes of Mavia is also kind of starting to come up there. And I think it's really just because, no shade, it's a straight copy of Clash of Clans, which is ludicrously popular. So I think Web3 Clash of Clans is very appealing.
I'm curious to see if it'll tell me who has the most reviews, because like it's great to have a 10 out of 10 review, but is that one review, or is it like aggregating across many? That's interesting. And it doesn't show me. I think this means that they also won an editor award. Yeah. Mm-hmm. These are some awards that this game has won, for example. That's really cool. I had not spent a lot of time here. And like this is a cool website.
Can you send me the link to that?
It's games.gg. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. I'll send it to you in our little DM, and you'll see kind of my filters on it. But you can toggle back and forth really easily. I like that, guys. I like that games.gg. Yeah, hey Tori, cool. Welcome. Maybe.
Oh, of course. Dead Drop. I totally forgot about Dead Drop. That's another one. And Parallel's been killing it. That's a really. I totally forgot about Parallel too.
Maybe we can get these guys on the show, and maybe we can have them on at the same time as Arcade. Like, I love the idea of having a little panel. It'd be fun. I see someone tagged you, Alex, that our friend Cobalt tagged you, but I don't see if there was a question attached to it.
Listen, I respect the hustle. I'm not gonna just give you you are hounding for buy signals and picks, and I see you, and I know what you're doing, So my portfolio is not the one that is going to excite you because the genuine answer to your question on what I'm most bullish on is Bitcoin. And I respect the hustle. I know you're trying to like gather information, but this is like my whole shtick is that I should not say anything that makes you go buy something. So we're talking about a ton of different projects and tokens and coins and all sorts of different stuff. And the only piece of action that anyone should ever take from a piece of social media content, whether it's a live stream or a tweet or a video or whatever, is that you should make a note of the projects that they were talking about and then go read about them.
That's right.
So,
Man, I recommend you watch this show with a notebook. Doesn't have to look like mine. Doesn't have to be fancy. Could be a sticky pad. Could be a note on your phone. And when we say a project that because of its sector, its area piques your interest, it doesn't have to be a good example. It could be a bad example. If we're talking about someone like CZ and you're like, who is CZ? He was sentenced. He was prosecuted. Oh, he's related somehow to Sam Bankman-Fried. Research the people too, and write them down. And if it's a token or a project, we've got a process for this. Alex and I just did an unpacking video. I did a little blurb on it. Alex did one a couple of days ago about how to kind of do your own research. Everyone always says DYOR. It's so simple. It can be intricate and complex, but this is the real fruit here. It's the real good stuff here. You take your stuff from your notebook after the show, you go to CoinGecko, start there, get some links, get a contract address, check out their Twitter, check out their website, learn about this stuff and find out, is this the kind of place? Remember, you don't have to spend money on a lot of these projects to get involved with them. You go to coinbase.com/learn, get some crypto for free. You can go play one of these games. A lot of these are free to play. You can earn tokens for that. You can make friends from that. Get on Warpcast totally for free. Start talking to people in the DMs. Find out, one of these game devs lives over there. Talk to them. Hang out with them. And all of a sudden, you're starting to build all kinds of capital without ever having made an investment of money. But also, any investment in money you might make is going to be better for it. That's the real secret of a show like this. If you just buy all the projects we talk about, you're probably not going to make it. But if you learn to do that research for yourself, everything you buy will be better. Look at this. I've got a whiteboard marker, Alex, for my notebook. What kind of a fool am I? Oh, but it works. Wow.
and Kai hit it on the head too. Coinbase will literally give you crypto for free to start learning about it. And I just was, I opened Coinbase the other day, and I haven't spent very much time on Coinbase because my on off ramp has been cracking for a long time.
Yeah,
it was just to make my taxes easier.
Sure.
For Faceless's accountant, it's easier for me to keep all of it in the same place. However, I was on Coinbase and I realized the last time I had really used Coinbase was to demonstrate learn and earn. And I just piled up a list of all of the tokens that they were giving out. And then I bought a chunk of them on top of the ones that I had earned. And I realized that I had a bunch of Fetch AI that I have held since I got it in 2021, and it's up 700% since then. So I just oh, sweet. Well, that's up crazy. And I don't know about the future of Fetch. I haven't done enough reading to feel strongly one way or the other. But I'll tell you what, a couple things that I do really like are cheaper. So let's go ahead and swap all of that over. So that was a pleasant little surprise. And I got most of that stuff for free. It was I got, I think, $10 worth of Fetch for free in 2021 for doing a quiz with Coinbase. That was, $70 right now. Not a huge amount of money, but that was a cool thing. And this kind of stuff happens consistently on Coinbase. You can go spend a few minutes, and actually this isn't sponsored by Coinbase, but it should be. So Coinbase, they've changed the learn and earn program now to be more involved. It used to be a quiz that kind of looked like Duolingo, and you would answer a couple questions. It honestly didn't even matter if you got them all wrong. They would still give you the crypto at the end. But now they take you on a little journey, and they'll get you to like make a wallet on this protocol that they're teaching you about. So if it's about this new blockchain, whatever, and they have a native currency and you have to make a wallet for it, they're like, okay, go over here, make a wallet. And then, like enter the wallet address or whatever that you made, and we'll send you the free crypto to get you started. So they're kind of getting more involved, and it's more hands-on, and it's like a pretty cool, safe environment where you don't have to risk anything to try it, which is awesome. And at the end of it, you'll end up with a couple bucks. And some of these things are now like even better. They used to do it was like $2 or $3 that you would earn. Now it's like 10 to 20 for some of these things if you go on the whole thing. So,
I think you can get $50 of VeChain still right now, which is like, probably not going to go to the moon, but like $50 for spending about 15 minutes just hanging.
yeah.
It's better than a lot of airdrops that never pan out, And the other one is like airdrops.io. Great place to hang out if you just want to learn to do some crypto stuff, move some things around on chain, and possibly like earn some money sometime in the future. Not a bad idea. I feel like I had a point about that, about airdrops or learning or earning or something, but it'll come back to me. Alex, I saw we had a question that you answered from our new friend Mark. Hello, Mark. Thank you for joining the show. About a portfolio, and I just wanted to comment on it. They mentioned they had Beam, Gala, High, and Myria, and I just wanted to ask, are those the only crypto tokens you hold? I am starting to, we often say like there's no such thing as the perfect investment. There's just like, what is a good investment for you? And how can you personally develop more conviction? And I'm starting to get this new kind of theory. I want to know what you think about it, Alex. It sounds like that's a mostly like gaming-verse, metaverse gaming related portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think diversification is always a good strategy, whether you're, in crypto, real estate, whatever. But I tend to think I'm learning from people who have, money and are good at investing, that it's not a bad idea to pick a niche and focus, or pick a couple things and focus based on your conviction, especially when you're like starting out or a lower net worth person, you don't have as much to spread around. And I want to know what you think about that. Like, generally, I would say to somebody in crypto, it's probably a good idea to get some Bitcoin because it's, kind of stable. The risk is not as prevalent. You should probably learn with a stable coin or whatever. But like, I don't know, if somebody is really interested in a particular niche, I almost feel like maybe it's a better idea for them to learn that niche and spend some time there and use it as a gateway. But, what are your thoughts on that? Like learning in one particular area versus no, you really should go out and learn about this, learn about this, learn about this.
So like the disclaimer here, the same one that you gave at the beginning, is that everyone has their own financial situation and you need to do what is determined by you to be best for you, right? Like someone asked me yesterday, hey, I have a lot of this and now it's, it's dipping. Should I buy more? And I'm like, even if I was going to answer that question, I couldn't possibly answer that question because I have no clue what you can afford to invest right now, right? However, we can take lessons from historically monumentally good investors. And exactly what you're talking about right now, Evan, is Warren Buffett's biggest lesson that he has been preaching for ages, which is that, sure, there is credibility, or not credibility, there is validity in a diverse portfolio, but there is also a difference between a diverse portfolio and an insane portfolio where you're like trying to be exposed to 400 different things. He's like, that person is way less likely to succeed than someone who does more learning and then finds that high conviction play and goes harder on it. And Mac talks about this all the time, that there's, maybe it's the best option for you to put $20 in 500 different things and wait for one of them to 20, your odds of hitting a winner are obviously greater. However, your return for hitting the winner is a lot less. And do you think maybe if you had done more reading instead of just like taking the buy signal from social media or like reading one article that you were like, oh, cool, want some of that, and like really dug into it more, you'd realize like, no, actually that one I don't have much conviction in. But like this one, oh, I didn't know about this, and this. And maybe that would to you say like, okay, this is a better idea. So I 100% do not hold that many cryptos anymore. My first bull run, I had like 35 different things, and it was a nightmare to keep track of. I couldn't follow that much news at the same time. It was so stressful. I was constantly evaluating whether or not I wanted to keep something or whatever. And now I literally, like, this is why I don't like to talk about my portfolio, not because I'm trying to hide it, but just because it's boring. And I know it's not the answer people are looking for when they ask me. My portfolio is literally Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, Solana, and Avalanche. And that's it. And there's like less than $100 of a few other little tiny things that I don't even consider as investments, because honestly, I couldn't even tell you what they all are. They're scattered in wallets all over the place, and maybe one day I'll remember where they are. Go get rid of it. It's like $20 here, $20 there. Like anything real, that's it. It's those 5 things because that's it. Because I will always want to have some Bitcoin. Ethereum is a Titan. Solana and Avalanche are the only 2 other layer 1s that have a strong purpose and they're actively doing stuff. So I was like, yep, okay, it works for me. I like to buy shovels when I can. And then, and I have Covalent still. I've had Covalent for years, and I don't think it's a good investment probably. But I really like it and I wanted to support them. That's more of like a vote of, hey, I appreciate the work that you guys are trying to do, so I will hold your token. But I don't expect it to ever make me any money. That's a video that I should probably make at some point, but I think it would probably do terribly. It's like, here's my favorite cryptos. They're probably all bad investments.
So we have a question here that I want to address that follows along with that one really helpfully, which is, can you talk a little more about profit-taking strategies? The question is, when should I take profits? And again, the answer is difficult to give you specifically, but we can talk about different things that work for us. And the thing I want to kick it right back to Alex, because it was a couple videos ago on YouTube, you were talking about how you had this like calculated, like a couple years ago, I was going to do this. Every time it goes up 50%, I'm going to take out 25%, like highly mathematical profit strategy. And you've abandoned it because the best strategy really, you were saying, is one that you can stick to, one that works for you. Yeah. So what kind of strategy do you have now? And what would you recommend somebody does with profits? Like, what does taking profits actually mean to you?
Yeah. Again, like you said, it's way more simple because I just don't have the time to sit there and stare at stuff like I did before, and it was too much to keep track of. So for context, my first profit-taking strategy was an absolute nightmare, and I was sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm a genius. I couldn't possibly lose. I'm gonna win at crypto because no one's got a strategy that's this intense. And my first strategy was like, I'm not even gonna remember this, but this is literally how convoluted it was. It was like, for every 20% that a crypto increases in price, I will sell 15% of my holdings or something like that. It wasn't even a flat round number. Sure. It wasn't like for every 20 up, I'll sell 10. It was just like something stupid. And so constantly on every green day, I'm like sitting here doing math, like, what does this qualify? And then what would inevitably happen is that I would like either not want to do the math, so I would just not sell anything, or it would be like 1 or 2% shy, and I'm like, keep it, and then it would crater. And I'm like, well, I just missed out on a great swing if I had actually stuck to my rule. And so that was then the evolution of my rule was just like, look, who gives a shit what my rule is? I just need to actually do it. So it has to be something that I can actually pay attention to and follow. So the new rule is when the markets are green, I go through and I sell some of everything that I have. And some, I said some on purpose to be vague, so that on that day, if I have no need, if I'm not stressed about anything, if like I actually have any free floating capital that I could put into something, or if I'm feeling a little bit of the squeeze, like, maybe I put in a little bit too much of something, that number will kind of fluctuate, but it's literally that simple. On a day when everything is green, especially if it's been green for 2 or 3 days in a row, I'll take a little bit. I'll never sell the whole thing, but I'll take a little bit. And then on the days when it's red and it's been red for days, I will, if I, whatever I have floating around from the days that was green, if I still have the same convictions and passion for one of the things that I've invested in, I'll put a little bit in, and that's literally it. So I'm
So sometimes, sorry, go ahead.
just basically the goal is to end up with one, always a little bit of free capital to spend on something if I see a cool deal, or if there's a new airdrop that I want to participate in, or if there's a new token that's launching that I would like to buy a little bit of. I want to always have like a little bit, and I'm not someone who invests a ton. So when I say a little bit, I'm talking like, a couple $100 at the most. I'm not like swinging thousands of dollars around over here. And or I want to end up with more of what I had. So if Avalanche, take that one for example, if I have 10 of them and it pumps up like crazy, and I'm like, okay, well now my 10 is worth 40% more than I bought it for, I'll sell a chunk of it enough to where if Avalanche goes back down to the price that I just bought it at, I can take the money and I can expand my position. I will have invested the same overall amount, and now I have more Avalanche. And then I can kind of keep doing that. It's kind of like the week swing trade. And that's it. It's literally that simple. On the green days, sell a little bit. On the red days, buy a little bit if I feel like I want more of whatever it is.
So, Alex, I want to take it and run a little deeper into the question of where do you put it. In my mind, from what you've said and from what we've talked about on the show, there are three answers to the question of when I take those profits, what actually do I do with the money? And the first thing you said is sometimes you consolidate, meaning he found out about that fetch token that was in his Coinbase wallet that he learned and earned, and now it's up 700% or whatever. And he doesn't necessarily want or need that crypto as much as others he's excited about. Now, he doesn't want another dog to take care of kind of thing. So he sells it and moves it into a cryptocurrency that he's more interested in continuing to hold. Maybe opening a new position on something he's been looking at, or adding to a bag that he's already got. That's option one, consolidating. Option two is you talked about having some in reserves to buy with. This means probably that you're converting it to a stable coin. That fetch, maybe you went to Coinbase and did a swap for USDC, for Tether, for DAI, any of the stable tokens. Go ahead.
The exception to that is that if I'm doing the trading on a centralized exchange, which does happen sometimes because sometimes I want fewer barriers to entry or barriers to withdrawal if there's money that I may need at some point. For context too, whenever I pay anyone for work, like I just hired someone to do some design work for me, and I prefer to pay in crypto, I honestly usually keep all of that just on like a decentralized wallet. So that stuff I always swap into a stable coin because I want to keep it out, in its wallet. But if there's money like for myself that I'm going to need just because I hold more capital in crypto because that's what I typically pay people with and that's what I typically get paid in, some of that stuff will stay on a centralized exchange just so that if I do need to withdraw it for bills or for whatever, it's an easier step and I don't have to do as many transactions and incur as many fees, whether that's gas in the wallet or the platform fee on Kraken or whatever. So keep that in mind that sometimes stablecoin may not be the best thing. And if you're trading on a centralized exchange, you're just kind of going back and forth like every couple weeks or something, and you're cool with the fees and you get it and you're comfy there. It's probably not worth it to go to a stablecoin versus straight US dollars because it's easier to withdraw the dollars without having to sell something else. You can't withdraw the stablecoin. So
exactly. And that's I want to say two things on that. The first one is for me, when I'm that's the third thing you can do is withdraw to cash, sell to cash and move to your bank kind of thing. When you do this, you will almost certainly incur some fees. If you're asking this question, you probably haven't done a ton of moving, but you're starting to notice that, God, there's a fee in everything. There's a fee for everything, right? We've cut out kind of the middlemen of banks taking their profit, but now we got to pay a little gas fee. Now we got to pay Coinbase instead of the bank, right? So, but as a result, I try to be very strategic about when I'm going to withdraw to cash. I don't tend personally to do this unless I'm withdrawing about $1,000 is like my minimum. And I use it for bills, I use it for income, I use it for big payments, stuff like that, because my preferred route to cash is Coinbase. And on the way out, they're going to take probably $100. maybe more, depending on how many swaps I got to do before I get that money in my hand. And then, and this is the final consideration, remember that movement of your crypto is a taxable event. And it's helpful for you to start to understand the different kinds of transactions. Is it income? Is it a transfer? Was it a gift? So on and so forth. Was it a loss? So that you can properly report it to the IRS. Now, don't worry. While I do recommend keeping some sort of simple note, most of the tax software that's available, like Coinly with a K, we'll put it in the comments, will connect to Coinbase, connect to Kraken, connect to your MetaMask, all your stuff, and will automatically kind of pull this stuff for you. Some of it you kind of got to classify, but you will be liable if you get into profit, trade a cryptocurrency, turn it into cash, pull it out of your bank for paying some taxes on that money if it's gains. And that's not a cause for concern. It's also not something that's too terribly hard to learn enough about to feel good about. Just something to think about. Every time you take profits, Alex was talking about a profit-taking strategy, and people in the comments are too. I know a lot of sophisticated traders. It seems like the more sophisticated you are, the more you take profit when it moves. Alex said, sell on the green days, buy on the red days. But the really sophisticated people, they're selling all the way up a little bit, and they're buying all the way down. For you and me, this might be an order in an order. For them, there's 100 orders here and 100 orders here. And every single one of those is a taxable event. More transactions. So things to think about. We have a great episode with our friend Angel, who's here on TikTok as Orlegwe. He's a CPA, good friend, easy to approach, masterful content on crypto taxes. But Coinly, and I think there's another one, but I always forget it because I use Coinly, is one of the softwares we recommend. And all this stuff, if you're like, oh my God, I got to write it down, put it in the comments. If you're signed up for the Rise Up Morning Show newsletter, you're going to get these links all the time, every week. I know I'm selling you hard on it, but it's free. We hate newsletters. I get it. But just sign up for it so that you can go into your inbox and say, oh, he said it was there. I can type Coinly and it'll come right up. You got a link.
Couple things to cover here from comments. Someone asked about finding wallets that hold more than one Bitcoin. That's exactly the kind of thing that you can use a blockchain explorer for, and just go separate by holder, sort by balance, and just scroll and look. I'm sure that a figure like that is probably something you can Google too, but they're going to get it from a blockchain explorer. So
do you think they mean treasure hunting, though, like I'm doing with these old computers, or hoping to do?
I mean, in that case, I can't help you.
Yeah, I don't know. Look for computers from 2000 to 2015. There are particular types of files you're looking for. I don't know. If somebody's doing that, they should send me a DM because I want to do more of that. I think that would be really fun. Probably a lot of misses, but it's the equivalent of a metal detector walking around on the beach, but making crypto.
Gangish, I answered this already, but mentioned, learning some TA and having a better idea of when to sell. Completely agree. Like, that's a skill that I just don't have. And I know that I have no interest in staring at charts. So I opt to do like the most hands-off approach possible. The other thing I could add to my strategy, I guess, is I have a video semi-recently called Crash Strategy, I think. If you're scrolling on my page, it's the one where I'm wearing the bright blue shirt. I think it's the only one. So it sticks out. And I think it's called Crypto Crash Strategy is the thumbnail. Mm-hmm. But basically what that is if I have, like, let's say we've been green for a little while and I'm looking to take some profits on something, and I have two different assets that kind of fit the same category. So like maybe it's IMX and Beam together. And they're both up, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, one of them is up way more than another one. So, I'm going to take some profit off of both of them, whatever. And then we crash and everything. So maybe one of them was up 10, the other was up 40. So I'm like, well, shit, that one's definitely doing better. Maybe I'm more convicted in that one now. Anyway, fast forward, we're on now one of the classic good old fashioned crypto crashes, and prices are down, and both of them have crashed 15% respectively. So they're both down the same amount percentage wise. I might consolidate my positions in the two of them. So if like, crypto A has been doing poorly and there's no good news coming out about it, and the other one is just crushing it, and I'm like, I no longer want to be exposed to both of these. I want to double down my convictions on the one that's, I think, going to do better. There's nothing wrong with selling something on a red day if you have a specific purpose in mind, right? Like I would not advocate for seeing red and panicking and selling stuff. I want to be really deliberate about the way that I say that. I'm not advocating that you like see red, freak out, and sell it at a loss. I'm saying that I would basically swap asset A into asset B on a day that they're both down to expand my position in B while stuff is down. I would use the capital that's tied up in something I don't want anymore to expand my position in something I do want. And that might be a better idea. But I would also be in my head saying like, well, this may not work out. This may be, there is obviously risk involved there anytime. So for whatever.
Can I rapid fire some questions with you?
Yeah.
So on that one, are you diversifying any of the profits you take into like gold, silver, real estate, stocks, index funds at this time?
No, with the exception of the Roth IRA that I have that holds almost exclusively an S&P 500 index fund. Haven't added much of anything to that in a while, but it's doing quite well this year. No, honestly, nothing with any sort of regularity that I could say. No, I'm pretty, the only investment asset classes that I really know anything about other than it's good to have some index fund is crypto. So that's where I'm staying with whatever I can afford to invest at this point.
Same. I stay here because this is what I know. I stay here because I work here. Eventually, I would plan personally to diversify my net worth once it hits as I hit different milestones and markers. Moving money would be something I would do. And if that's something you want to learn more about, like what I would call traditional assets, we would both recommend Kenneth Suna. What's his handle? Do you know?
Trade.
If you search,
invest,
it'll come up.
Trade,
That's right.
Invest, simplify, all one word. So all three words squished together.
He usually goes live about the time we're getting done. So he's great watch. He's not going to try and sell you anything. We'll tell you, I don't know if he doesn't know the answer to a question. We'll kind of walk through stuff with you. Highly recommend it. A person of integrity. Have met him. Shared a euro one time in New York City. Great guy. Okay, another one. Do you know anything about the injective proposal? Nick Johnson asked to implement a deflationary mechanism. No? Well, then let me give you the TLDR in 20 seconds because I don't know enough about it either to have an opinion, but it's not unfamiliar to us. In the crypto space, sometimes people will fork the protocol, update the protocol, and they will often, one of the kinds of things people love to do, it's like implementing staking, is creating a burn mechanism and incentivizing people to burn their tokens. So they're calling it Injective 3.0. It's a game changer. It was a governance proposal on April 19th. We love to see governance. Injective 3.0 tokenomics proposal introduces a sweeping change to bolster Injective's deflationary attributes. Basically, they proposed increasing the burnable supply by like 4 times every time there's a regular burn. And they made it so that anybody who runs a dApp anywhere or is connected to the ecosystem can choose to send tokens to the weekly burn. I don't know if they're those like the tokens they own, or what it is. I don't understand why somebody would want to like necessarily just burn their own tokens versus yours or the tokens in the treasury. But maybe generally, what do you think about deflationary? I don't have strong thoughts on deflationary tokenomics. I think it's kind of a gimmick. I like the idea that Injective is actively doing governance stuff with their community and seems to be getting a lot of feedback. To me, that's like the bullish thing here more than, oh, our tokens are going up in price, But I want to know what you think.
Yeah. Overall, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't like deflationary tactics in tokens for a very specific reason. And there's 2 parts to this answer. The first part is that typically, this is not a guarantee, but typically, deflationary tactics in tokens can lead to short-term positive price action. I would never say that that's not the case. However, in the grand scheme of things, with regards to like the longevity of a project, I think that deflationary measures taken on their main token, their product, especially if it's a token with proposed utility that they theoretically would want more and more and more and more people to get and use consistently, to bring value and traffic to their network. Just genuinely ask yourself, does it make any sense to remove supply? The only reason that you would want to cut supply on something that you would like demand to increase is to make the price go up, which is a valid strategy by something that's focused on being an investment, which is, I think, the problem with most crypto, that it's always focused on how to make it the best investment because that's what they need to survive. None of these businesses have any cash flow. There's no revenue coming in except for the token. So if the token's not doing well, then their business is struggling. And that is the inherent flaw with probably 98% of crypto projects. So I don't like deflationary tactics simply because they remove supply of a utilitarian tool that theoretically the project wants more users to adopt and use. So if I have a token and I want you to all use it to play my game, and I keep taking more of it off the market and burning it or whatever, that's what memes do to trick you into thinking it's a good investment. Right. It doesn't make any sense to me that you would do that for a utilitarian project. So whenever I see
it's like a magic trick.
Whenever I see a project that's taking a step to make something deflationary, to me that says they're worried about their price action and they're trying to do something to fix that and make the token pump so that people look at them again and then buy some of it, which ultimately I think will hurt their vision of doing what they need. The perfect example of a project that has, by all metrics, according to the business side, succeeded, but is probably not a very good investment, is VeChain. VeChain is an awesome project that had a really specific mission, and they're fucking doing it. They're out there doing it, and their clients are using it, and the thing works, and it does a very specific service, and that's it. And the token is flat as hell, and it probably is not worth your time to invest in, to speculate on. But I would tell you right now, if you were a large supply chain related business that wanted an on-chain solution to easily handle some, decentralized move you're trying to make, I would recommend that you look at VeChain. I would not recommend that someone buy it because it's going to go up 1,000x. And that's because they've never done any stupid deflationary tactic, weird thing. They have a token and it does a job, and that's all they care about. Good for them. So no, without knowing anything specifically about Injective's proposal to do that, if the goal of it is to make the token deflationary, I am now worried about their longevity more than I was before. And I think that they're knee-jerk reacting to a bunch of other projects in the same space, passing them in rank.
I think that could be it. I don't know enough about their community to say for certain, but my take on this is that Injective is striving to position itself as a DeFi, the up and coming DeFi place. And DeFi at its core, like in the context of the crypto movement, is really just about people playing with programmable money. What can we do to creatively make number go up? And eventually it'll be about like banking the unbanked and stuff like that. And some of it is, but I feel like Injective is in fact probably aware that this is what they're doing. But they feel that the best way to reward long-term holders and make the project attractive to new investors in order to do money manipulating, number go up stuff is stuff like, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you at all. And I don't disagree with them. I think they're probably being clear about like, that's our ethos. I'm interested to see where it goes. Like all experiments in crypto, it may or may not be a good speculative investment. But I'm with you, generally speaking, about deflationary tokenomics. They don't excite me personally. It's not what I'm here for or want to support necessarily with my money. Doesn't mean it's a bad idea for you. Doesn't mean it's a bad idea for them. It probably will make interesting DeFi things happen. The other rapid fire question I wanted to hit was somebody asked about the SOFIN airdrop. We talked about it a little yesterday. It is, so far as I know, a speculative airdrop. I went to airdrops.io to confirm, and this is what the community has said. SOFIN doesn't have a high rating, which means the airdrop is like possible, speculative, not certain. Hasn't been confirmed, at least according to airdrops.io, which is pretty reputable. If you wanted to be eligible for an airdrop, should they decide to launch a token, all they say is visit their website, connect your wallet, switch to Ethereum. That's it. So if somebody else knows more about the SOFIN airdrop, if they've said something about it, if this is just not updated, let me know. But that's as much as I know, I'm sorry to say. And I feel like maybe there was another one, but if I missed it, I'm so sorry. Oh, somebody asked us about our thoughts on the, thank you for posting this again, the AI merger. What do you think about it, Alex?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. I don't know as much about it as I should, but I think generally there's a couple ways you could look at it. And honestly, I think I don't know. I personally, like when I hear that, I think it's kind of cool. And it might make sense. To me, that would mean like, hey, here's a bunch of crypto projects that are like, have semi-aligned goals and, maybe they're just sick of competing and they're stronger together, which is like so in line with the general Web3 ethos of, not, identifying all of my competition. How do I kill them? But like, no, okay, how do we absorb or how do we work together? So in that sense, it's kind of cool, but I don't know enough about the specifics, like the reasons for all of them doing that merge that to have like an educated conversation about it.
The best point I actually have heard about it lately was what Max said yesterday on our live discussion. He was talking about it and he said the thing about a merger that's really difficult is all these companies have different cultures, right? They've all been working on very different products, projects, have different missions, visions, values. And now in this merger, you're almost certainly going to have some conflict as the company collectively settles on what's its new direction going to be. Like these devs over here who've been working on this project and it's their baby and they love it, who are going to be asked to switch to something new and different, they're going to feel really salty. There might be formerly senior people who have more junior positions who disagree with the new direction, while other people will be more revitalized and maybe they will or they won't be able to attract like the new blood necessary to help them sustain it. And the challenge of the merger and its success or failure is totally going to lie in how effectively can they align those values? How effectively can they create a new culture together and then share it with the world? How will shareholders respond? So I thought that was a really smart take. And I'm with you, Alex. That's about all I know. I am waiting to see what will happen. I'm not terribly bullish on it personally. Mergers are tough, but I wish them well. I hope they build something great.
Yep. Yeah. I'm again, a lot of my opinions about, what's good or bad for a crypto project. I'm not like formulating that opinion from an investment standpoint, but more like, I guess in a roundabout way, it kind of is because I'm trying to focus on like, who do I think actually has the teeth and the stones to, good to see you, Kai. Good luck. Let me know about the lawyer thing.
Yeah. Hey, Kai, keep us posted and let us know how we can support.
So I guess, it is in a roundabout way, it is sort of an investment perspective because I think to myself, okay, well, what kind of investments am I interested in making? And I'm not the kind of person who can make super short-term stuff. So I focus on long-term things. So like, who do I think is going to be around, in 5 years, in 10 years, who's going to survive the whole market? Because the likelihood of me missing the top and not selling at the ideal moment is pretty high. Like I would not, I would not take signals like that from myself. So because I know that about myself, I try to think like, well, if the worst should happen and I miss the top and I have to hold something throughout the bear market, what am I more comfortable holding? Do I think is actually going to like keep doing stuff and come back? So that's why I think what I think, about like deflationary tactics. Like, okay, short term, sure, maybe that is going to cause some volatility here, there, whatever. Leave me and my hat alone.
Listen, when you take your hat off, Alex, you look like if Jonathan Taylor Thomas had a Scandinavian-ish but like alt love child with himself. And I mean that in the best way. I mean that in the
can
absolute
honestly
best
say
way.
I've never been described that way.
Well, I'll figure out a way to make it more concise, but the other day I saw that video of you with your hat off. I'm sorry to derail you, but I just got to say, if you're looking for a thirst trap and also enjoy crypto, just go to Alex's profile and swipe back, and the wind is blowing just a little bit. I don't know how you get your bangs to be. When I was in middle school and I had like longer hair for the first time and it was so curly and I hadn't figured out how to work it yet, I was so envious of people who had like straight hair that could fall into place, because never in my life has my hair done that, I was like,
I do nothing. It just goes.
Of course you do. And that's why we're here together. We clean up okay.
Clean up all right.
But we'll leave the hat alone. That would be your token. My token would be Evan with hat. Yours would be Alex.
Yes.
Without hat. People want to see it.
Now it's Alex with gray.
I'm sorry I derailed you. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I probably needed to be derailed. I tend to ramble.
And I have to go in. No, we both do. Listen, we have a lot to say. That's why we're here.
I guess at the end of the day, it's a talk show, right? So maybe rambling is not the world's worst thing that we could do.
Yeah, no, it's not. And also, I want to encourage anybody. Thank you for all the kind words. If you have kind words for the show, like I try to screenshot them when they come through, because we are working on getting our poop in a group to really make a strong push for better sponsorship. And not just sponsorship to help us like fund our show, but to help us fuel the community growth. Like, we want to approach sponsors of products like the Ingrave Wallet and be like, you need to give us at least 3 so that we can share them with community members who are going to write whatever, for you guys too. If you have a testimonial, like feedback, good joke, word of wisdom, I always say, go to the riseupmorningshow.com or find that link through tapping either of our faces. We've got a Google form. I know it's like 3 clicks away, but this really helps us. Totally free. Where you can leave your testimonials, like why you watch this show, suggestions, and also the thing we're trying to source right now as we make more YouTube content, we're trying to build like free courses that are more focused.
Listen.
Yeah.
What Evan's not saying bluntly is that we need to get paid to keep doing this at the caliber that we're doing. And rather than trying to scheme a way for all of you to pay us to keep doing it, we would rather leverage the fact that you guys are all here and participating and awesome to get someone with a lot of money to pay us instead. So that's what we're trying to do. Evan and I want to
get some of that Changpeng Zhao money.
I'm trying to get someone to give us some better equipment so that Evan can join us in the 21st century with an iPhone that has more than 2 digits in the number, and because there have been multiple, and so the single best thing that all of you guys can do is literally just like the stream, follow the pages, and say nice things so that we can show sponsors that we want to pay us. Like the fact that we keep shouting out Coinbase for their awesome learn and earn program, and Coinbase is not giving us commission for all of that is just, come on, Coinbase. I know we've talked to you before. And
CoinGecko and Coinly, and the list goes on. Ledger, Trezor. And Tori said it best. We should collectively leverage our attention for them to buy our attention. This is so valuable, you guys. We're always talking about how there are many forms of capital, and this is one of them. And we're going to, we're going to make it happen. So the riseupmorningshow.com or tap our faces. You can sign up for the newsletter. That's helpful. even if you never read it, but I promise it's good. You can leave us a testimonial at the forum. You can go to the YouTube, let it play in the background while you take a shower or wash your dog or whatever. You can just tap the screen. That's totally free. But all of it helps us, and we appreciate it all so much. But I've got to go in about 12 minutes. So let's as we start to wrap things up, Alex, maybe you can stay a little bit. But I always like to give folks the, why you got us. Hit us with your best shot. If we missed your question, don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow. But let us know what you're thinking, and thank you, as always, for being here, because your attention really is your most valuable asset, and there are a million influencers you could watch who would probably tell you which tokens to buy. If that's your thing, I'm glad it's not. Because forget those guys, man.
Yeah. I went on like a short binge yesterday of just hate watching crypto content that I know is a paid ad that wasn't disclosed. And I always wonder, like, how stupid do creators like that think everyone is? Because, like, if I was doing shady, nefarious shit, I would be thinking about, like, how do I make sure I don't get caught? And these people are, like, taking payment publicly in large chat groups with tons of other creators, and then they make the video. And Mac texts me all the time. He's like, because Mac is in all of those groups where the paid promotions are proposed, and then, certain number of people always take them. And then they make the video about it, and we all see the video. Like ChainSwap. You guys remember when everyone organically discovered ChainSwap at the same time, which was hilarious. They all got paid for all of those videos. IOTA, yeah.
What was the one last run? Is that right? IOTA? Yeah.
IOTA. Well, there were a bunch last run. There was a bunch every time. But like the pro tip is that if every influencer organically discovers the same project at the same time, it's because that project just organically paid them to make the video. And that's totally fine. Like, like I just said, take your monetization from the people who can afford to pay you lots of money to do your job as an influencer. But like, just tell people that it's an ad. One, it's illegal to not say that it's an ad. Fun little side note. But also just don't be a piece of shit, because if you abuse your audience, then they're going to hopefully wise up and leave, and then you won't get paid anything. That's true. Michelle asked a while ago, and Michelle, I'm so sorry, I totally forgot to come back to it, about our day jobs. So Evan, because you have a very eclectic batch of day-to-day happenings, tell us what you do.
I collect day jobs like Alex collects dogs, and sometimes even more. I am an actor by trade. That is my very first job,
Evan,
that I have pursued as a craft. Like,
do you have anything coming out semi-soon that we can all watch you in?
Oh my gosh, I really do. And I'm amazed they haven't dropped a trailer for it yet, but there's a new series coming to Peacock this summer. Thanks for the tea. And it's called Hysteria. It's like a Stranger Things-esque dramedy about a small town in Michigan in the 1980s that is overrun by a satanic panic. It focuses on like a grunge metal band of kids there and how they try to capitalize on this hype. When the town finds out that there may be more to this than just like rumors and speculation, it starts to become real for them. And I was a co-star in an episode where the main character, a mother, has a flashback to her time in the 1960s when, before she was like this tight, conservative Christian woman, she was a flower child. And we are in love, or at least whatever that means. We talk about God and the devil. I give her some LSD, and then she gets kidnapped by this rogue preacher. So it's going to be a great show. It's going to be on Peacock, and you can check it out this summer. Hysteria. So that's my craft. That's my trade. That's how I learned about what the world is, is by studying the great texts and textual interpretation, poetry, prose, stuff like that. Currently, most of my income and like my job time is spent doing music performance. I perform as a musician here in Memphis, and you can certainly, if you need music, songs folks love from the last 100 years for your birthday, wedding, graduation party, bar mitzvah, celebration of divorce, whatever. you can call me and you can bring me out, and I will entertain the people you love, draw them into the space they're into a closer relationship with the people around them, that kind of thing. Take requests, deep songbook, yada, yada, yada. Play guitar and sing, the White Boy Special. I rehearse with an 80s band that has not gone out yet, but is going out June 8th. I am the mascot for our local non-NFL pro football team, the Memphis Showboats. And then I do a lot of like gig work too. So, in the crypto space, people will call me, they'll ask me some questions, I'll give them some answers, kind of thing. What else do I feel like honestly there's more. Occasionally I do freelance events. I'm doing an event this Saturday, a Kentucky Derby party for 1,000 of my closest friends. And what happens is a nonprofit or a corporate organization will hire me to learn every aspect of their event with their director or whatever. And then on the day of the event, after helping them kind of plan and coordinate, I'm not a type A person who does the spreadsheets and stuff, but I learn all that. And then I show up so that instead of having to troubleshoot the problems, you go talk to your donors, go schmooze your guests, and I walk around solving problems with a big smile on my face and invite everybody to have a good time. So like when the fuse goes out on your toilet trailer, or somebody gets hit by a car in the parking lot or whatever, that's what I do. I take care of that so that nobody has to see it, so that everybody stays safe. And would you like another drink? I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us today, kind of thing. That's what I do.
Yeah,
and there's probably more.
That's a hell of a batch.
Alex jokes with me all the time that when he calls me, he's like, "So what are you doing today?" Because usually I'm, I don't know, trying to fix a light bulb in an elevator or something like that. They're just weird stuff.
True things that Evan has told me on the phone that he's doing when I call. Hiding Easter eggs in a forest.
Yeah.
Walking a pony. I don't know. What are some other Evan's greatest hits? He was cleaning a chimney once as if it was, 1920, and that's a thing still.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just always doing something crazy.
Just weird stuff.
But day job wise, right now I am income wise, I'm mostly doing social media, like strategy and marketing for a couple different people who are trying to leverage content creation to market more authentically. I do Web3 related business development for companies that are trying to figure out how or if they can use Web3 tools and tech to enhance their business models. And then I do my own social media stuff. I create content. I do the show here with Evan. We have all the other little, odds and ends of that stuff. Before all of that, I was in the military. I was active Coast Guard for 9 years. I started off on a ship, and I was that's why I was just who was it? Who just said they were Captain Thaddeus? Excellent handle. Is a merchant marine, so I definitely I'm familiar with those guys. I worked. I was stationed on a boat that deployed to the Caribbean every now and then. We did law enforcement stuff. I hated it. I did search and rescue. Then I switched over and I worked navigation in the Great Lakes. So I'd fix lighthouses and buoys and scraped bird shit off of everything you can imagine. And then I got out of that and I switched to aviation, and I worked as a helicopter flight mechanic on the MH-65 Dolphin, the little orange helicopter that the Coast Guard has, as we affectionately call it, the flying leaf blower or the whistling shit can. So I flew on search and rescue cases, and I maintained the aircraft. And then if they broke while we were flying, then it would handle that too. And then that's it. That's about it.
Yeah, just as I am doing a lot of different things now, Alex, and I bond over the different kinds of things we've done to enjoy life and make a living. Sometimes at the same time, Alex is overdue for a late night live with some good story times about searching and rescuing for people and dogs. So tap the screen if you want to see that. I forgot too. that I also run a glamping business, a direct-to-you service called Camped 901 after our area code. So you and your family can get away from it all without leaving home. Everything you love about camping, none of the stuff you don't. It's never far from a fridge or toilet kind of thing. And Alex, in your new gig, working social media with a sort of a growing real estate Airbnb empire, one of the things I'm hoping we'll get to collaborate on soon. And if you know how to, bring this to life, leave a comment, is I would love to transition Camp 901 to like short-term rentals, figuring out a way to do like beautiful retreats in and with nature, surrounded by permaculture and bees and beautiful landscapes, glamping, but instead of delivered, you come to us. I don't own any land. I own tents. And Alex is, really getting into the nitty gritty of what it takes to do rentals and short-term rentals. So watch out. There might be a new collaboration on the horizon in the future. And, if that's you, call us.
Pretty cool. It does
Makes
make
us interesting at parties. Yeah, I bet.
Mac likes to say that he's crafted he's curated his life experiences to just kill at cocktail parties, and that's why we originally became friends, because I honestly feel like I've been doing the same thing. Talk to anyone about anything for any amount of time.
Yeah. We didn't do it on purpose, I don't think. I like to cultivate things that'll make the sidewalk more interesting, but I love that we all have. I mean, Mac was, he was a piano salesman. He hosted television in China, where he lived for several years. He's been to, India.
Taught English in China.
He's got a interesting background.
Yep. Well, Evan, on that note, same time, same place tomorrow?
Same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch us right back here. Join through either of our profiles. And before we go, I'll give you one more chance to tap my face, tap his face. If you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter. It's like 2 clicks, free, once a week, best, briefest bullets from the show. You can check out our YouTube from that page. The best link, honestly, is theriseupmorningshow.com. Join the free Discord if you want to talk to us there. Check out the YouTube if you want great tutorials and focused resources on topics like how to do your own research, how to perform a gut check, as we talked about today. You can leave us a testimonial there. It's super helpful. And obviously, we hope that if you have a question, you'll find us with it through our comments, through that form, through the show. Tell someone you know about it, especially your nephew Carl, who's teaching you to buy Dogecoin and whatever he's trying to get you to do next. But that's what we're here for. Tell a better story so that all of us can rise up together. My friends, thank you for being here. Until next time, rise up.